God versus neuroscience. Drinking bulletproof coffee and no MCT oil from an overdrawn bank account. From buying a heating device to stay warm during a coronavirus pandemic now. Biophysics at the University of Washington are kind of exciting for all of those philosophers and theorists of mathematical certainty and equality. Sarcasm and smugness, a race, an ethnicity and culture shared with a food on Capitol Hill sold with guacamole and salsa now. And a Sharia law they chose and decided with their problem solving. Worst of all, now. I used to go to UW and visit the Huskies' den. And women with hijabs would have silence and quiet, and I'd get an emotion and a color called a mood, they said, in an appointment a long time ago now. Before, I never heard from my counselor again, who's a social worker. And dominant, along with their comrades, her comrades, a gender-neutral co-worker, associate, professor, doctor, who has glasses from the movie Hannibal Lecter, Silence of the Lambs. But at the University of Washington, there's not an animal unless there's a dog walked by a Chinese tourist taking pictures in the buildings where engineers work towards defeating climate change. And Asian mysterious visitors elsewhere where the food has more to do with rice than an omnivore dilemma, Michael Pollan and Peter Singer talk about at Princeton and Berkeley. And Washington State Cougars mask neuropsychiatry from Mr. Governor Jay Inslee with sacred geometry on his face and an aging appearance, with a voice of determination to stutter less and make more rules and behavioral requirements for his agenda now. And then at MIT, artificial intelligence, along with the biophysics from the University of Washington Huskies, where engineer students make robots and talk about philosophy and theory. But Dr. Nordhoff in Canada never gets a mention about a brain world problem instead of Professor Lex Fridman's mind, body, problem, dilemma, language, letters, sentence, linguistics, mathematical equation of logic now. there's only a few remaining choices for humans to make. Considering what God has said in the Bible and in China to the Uyghur Muslims, in Tibetan monks who fled from Tibet, and in Russia and other parts of a world everyone wants as global and one, where the law prevents a word spoken aloud now, and a cyanide pill and a gun and a bullet are all awareness and attention are provided when concentration and focus have a blink. And after a repeating blink, a drug addict buys some drugs and substances and chemicals. And when there's no more energy, a cigarette smoker has a puff, puff, puff of their tobacco, and a fire and a flame from their Zippo lighter they hold with their dominance and tenacity and grit now. And lastly, mindfulness and all of the news doctors who say we can all wear those 95 masks. However, don't explain where the trash goes. Don't explain how suddenly AE/AF lock are inconsiderate. Explaining why terrorism has more freedom than a cancer surviving PhD candidate. Who decided to write about psychological cognition and quantum neurology and not bother anyone for a stimulation to reward their self and ego, mine, my emotional color. Now,